Hi everyone, it's Twitch65, and today we're painting a 1/48th scale Star Wars Stormtrooper. Back in January, I built this Bandai AT-ST walker and thought a few Stormtroopers would make a nice addition to that model build. Thus, the moniker, Part 2. I found this 6-trooper squad on eBay. The seller resin prints from his own STLs, and they were 75% less than buying a full box of figures from Star Wars Legions. Like all plastic models, we start with a wash in warm soapy water. All the troopers got a solid primer coat of light gray. Followed by a heavy zenithal highlight with white primer. This sets us up for starting the painting process. I'm going to work through just painting the leader figure, but I use the same methods and techniques and paints on the full squad. The painting process starts with a light dry brush of pure white to make sure we have an even transition from the white to the gray. In the various Star Wars movies, the troopers always wear a black bodysuit under his armor, which makes a nice movie contrast, but in miniature painting that's a little too stark. So I started with a German gray, which is a very dark gray. And while you want to take care while painting, if you do paint outside the lines a little bit, that's okay, because we can touch up all those oopses in later stages. The trooper's hands. Now remember that there's a bit of armor on the back of the hands. Keep that white while painting the hand. Moving on to the helmets, we have the recessed eye lenses. And the best way I found to paint them is to thin your paints just a little bit more. But don't make it so thin that it's running. I also added a little bit of flat black to the German gray, getting it to about a roughly 50-50 mix. By thinning your paints, you can use the flow and capillary action of the paint and the recesses to draw the paint down into all those little areas of the eyes that otherwise would be super difficult to reach with a brush. I also took this time to pick out other small details of the helmet using German gray, neutral gray, and some dark blue. The troopers' blasters were all painted flat black for overall coverage of the white and gray base coats. This served as an undercoat for the gunmetal black on top. The gunmetal black make the blasters a bit shinier and darker than the black that's in the bodies. Two troopers have that classic shoulder pauldron, and this guy is the leader, so let's call him a captain. So he gets the orange pauldron. I chose to paint the harness a dark gray. So the final step is to go back and reestablish the white armor. Take your time with pure white, hit the touch-ups, and a light dry brush to reestablish highlights. And started the pauldrons with leather brown, working up the layers of brown with increasing amounts of orange until I got the shade I wanted. The key is to pull the lighter shades of color onto the high tops of the pauldron, adding color and highlights all in one step. Once everything was dry and sealed under a coat of matte varnish, I glued the heads and helmets into place. And here's our finished batch of Stormtroopers. Stay tuned for part 3 where we weather up the ATS Walker from part 1. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this series.